one of the big issues I see with Gen Z as an academic population is I don't think they have a strong understanding of there's actually math involved in all of the content that people produce. And they think that they can just take out their phone and whip it out and produce something that's going to get 100,000 views. But there is a little bit of an equation involved in it. And that's what we try to teach a lot of our students is you can be really great at content, but you have to have some baseline understanding of the data behind it and what's working and what's not working.
Hey, welcome to the Higher Ed Storytelling University podcast on the EdUp Experience Podcast Network. This is a show dedicated to helping higher ed marketers tell better stories, create better content, and enroll more students. My name's John Azzoni. I'm the founder at Unveiled, and we're a video production company working specifically with college marketing teams to make it easy for them to scale up and even automate their student and alumni success stories through our subscription approach. And you can learn more about that at unveiled.tv. And that's UNVEILD.tv. If you're listening to this podcast for the first time, go ahead and subscribe. We'd love to have you. And if you're wanting your college and university's content to resonate on a deeper emotional level with prospective students, with alumni, with parents, whatever, I want you to subscribe to my free newsletter. Every week I send out tips and insights on creating more emotionally resonant content, including examples and best practices from other institutions, articles and blog posts, that week's podcast episode, and much more. So head over to unveiled.tv/newsletter and sign up. All right, let's get on with the show. My guest today is Andy Murphy, Associate Director of Marketing at Siena College. And today we're talking about their video content creation team, kind of a wraparound view of their team, which includes full-time staff as well as student content teams. And so we'll be talking about how they get internal folks as well as student interns to create video content for them. Helps create awareness for the school as well as help answer income students' curiosities about what life on campus is like. So Andy, thanks for being here.
Awesome to be here. Happy Friday. It's going to be 98 next week here in Albany, New York. So hopefully I'm in my pool, but happy to be here and chat video marketing with you.
Yeah, it was in the 90s here in Michigan yesterday, and my kids got out of school. It was their last day of school, so they ran off the bus like last day of summer and jumped right into the pool. And then we had I thought we were just having a few kids over because my wife was like, yeah, some neighborhood kids are coming over. There was 20 kids at my house.
Unexpectedly. You're like, do we have enough food, enough drinks for all of them?
Yeah, everyone's in and out of the pool. It was a fun day. We're kind of the party house in the neighborhood, but every year the party just gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah. My brother lives in a cul-de-sac, and so all of the kids are the same age. I'll drive up on a Friday afternoon. I'm like, all right, there's already 30 people here. I'll jump in the pool with all the kids.
Yeah. Yeah. I was the only adult in the pool, so all the kids were asking me to flip them over off the rafts and throw them in the air and stuff like that. And of course I'm pushing 40 here, so I was walking around the pool to skim it or whatever, and I somehow hurt my knee. I don't know what I did.
You're on the injured reserve list for next month.
Yeah, I'm how do you pull a muscle in a pool? It's supposed to be especially gentle on the bones, but
people use that for rehab.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, so let's start off letting our audience get to know you a little bit. Tell me something people might be surprised to know about you.
Sure. So here at Siena, I do a lot of the creative work as well as a lot of the analytical work, which is interesting because when I was in school at Siena, I failed math twice. And now that's a lot of the work that I do in marketing, is how are our campaigns performing and how can we optimize them. So I live in data a lot now when I used to hate it 8 years ago. And then on the personal side, I love photography. So people think it's crazy, but one day after work, we get out here about 4:00 here in Albany, New York. I drove 2.5 hours to Boston just to grab a photo of the sunset and then drove right back and came to work the next day. So I'm a bit of an adventurous person, but I love those spontaneous trips and being able to capture those authentic moments is really fun for me.
That's cool. What's special about the Boston sunset that you can't get in Albany?
So the skyline is in focus with one of these very famous bridges that has really unique graffiti on it. And so, yeah, we have the Hudson River here in Albany. I can take a picture of a river anywhere, but the way that the landscape hits and sets behind the buildings has a very unique glow on
Hmm.
some of the glass architecture.
Cool. That's awesome. And I also failed math. Well, I failed math I went to art school. So luckily I dodged math in art school, but I failed it all throughout high school. I was just terrible. I was a terrible academic person. And I have the same thoughts about myself. Like now I'm like in spreadsheets every day. And, like the work of a video producer is actually
Can be
uh,
analytical.
very analytical and like planning for shoots and answering emails and coordinating and I do budgets a lot, dealing with numbers and stuff, but thankfully budgets are just very simple, addition and multiplication and stuff like that. But yeah, man.
While we talk about some of the numbers and data, and I know we're going to talk a little bit today about some of the user generated content and student team that I have. I think one of the big issues I see with Gen Z as an academic population is it's great that they're on TikTok and they're watching the YouTube shorts and the reels. I don't think they have a strong understanding of there's actually math involved in all of the content that people produce. And they think that they can just take out their phone and whip it out and produce something that's going to get 100,000 views. But there is a little bit of an equation involved in it. And that's what we try to teach a lot of our students is you can be really great at content, but you have to have some baseline understanding of the data behind it and what's working and what's not working.
Mm, that's interesting. So, well, let me come back to that because I want to ask you about more about that. I'm curious, but tell me, let's set the stage for us. Tell me about the people involved in creating content at your team, and then I would like to hear more about the math involved in that.
Yeah, of course. So holistically looking, we have five people in our marketing team, but we really have one dedicated in-house videographer, and he's tasked with creating short form and long form video, both highly professionally produced, but also a little bit more on the natural, authentic side. And then we have an employee on our team that's working in terms of our TikTok and Reels, which is a lot done on the phone. And then we have a content student team that comes with us each semester, anywhere between 10 to 15 students with us on staff, and they're helping us capture those moments where we can't be there for us, right? So we work 8:30 to 4:30, but a lot of the social life of college students happens at night or on the weekends where we have other things that we're doing, like throwing kids in the pool, like you were just mentioning. So
Yeah.
our student intern team is there to assist us in moments that we can't capture, but also to display the college Siena story in a way that's going to resonate with the 17-year-old student in high school.
Yeah. That's cool. I think that's important too, because I think like, it's one thing to work on staff, full-time in-house videographer or whatever, and it's another thing to actually know what's going to resonate with people. And I'm like very much an advocate of just like, if you're trying to reach people of a certain population, just get that population to to do some of that work.
Yeah, I would say the open house programs, the video that plays before students go out on tour, the the 60% of the ads that we run are done with our in-house video producer. But then when we want to go on the organic side or just tailor some different ads to different populations, we'll utilize what our students are doing and what they're capturing on their phone and still make it look and feel like Siena, but
Hmm.
it doesn't have the flashy light kits that Dave has or
Yeah.
the nice microphones, etc.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, that's good. I feel like a really good video content strategy is both, and it's very well rounded like that. You do need the types of videos that Dave, your full-time producer, is producing, but then also these off the cuff kind of ones can really have a lot of fire to them that can kind of take off and resonate in a different way that almost like works better when there's not a microphone. I was giving a presentation last week, and I was showing like what TikToks and reels and stuff are working. And one of the patterns, we were noticing in these is that like the jankier the microphone, And like the more that you can see the cord hanging down and they
Yeah,
just like hold it up to the person and ask them a question, like the more views it seems to get. So it's just a
yeah.
weird phenomenon.
We love the man on the street type videos. I mean, you still need to understand the basics of good video quality, good audio quality, but you can have fun with it, like you were saying, and get that 50-foot audio cord, and
Yeah.
it can work that way.
Yeah. All right. So tell me about the what do you teach your content creators about math and analytics and stuff like that?
So yeah, we teach them both aspects of it. So, and I would say 90% of our interns that are coming in, they're coming in with little to no knowledge in video marketing and little to no knowledge in analytics. So what we really do is just throw them to the wolves, and we'll give them a project, and then they'll produce it, they'll edit it, they'll publish it, and then we wanted them to look at the analytics. So in the fall, and we obviously manage all of our key social channels, but we also have a variety of different department channels or different program channels. So we let our student interns kind of learn on those platforms. They're not as high risk as the
Hmm.
main at Siena College handle. So in the fall, our students are working on how do we get our population to go to our career expo? And their initial mindset is let's make a flyer, and they don't initially think that a 15 to 30-second video is actually going to perform better. They just think they can hop on Canva, create a flyer, put it out there, and that's going to get the job done. So we'll let them run those numbers on how does that flyer perform, and then they'll like the light bulb moment. There's no likes, there's no far reach, there's no good impressions,
Hmm.
and so like, okay, go out there and try a video, and it works. One of the videos that we did um, received double the amount of likes and had a 360% increase engagement using a video in their marketing instead of a static flyer or image. And so they get to A/B test, they get to learn on the fly, but it's really useful for them because it really changes their thought on how marketing should be done in the real world.
Yeah, and I like that you let them fail too. Like, and sometimes like a static image could work better than a video. Like I know that like on
Mm,
LinkedIn seems to downplay videos compared to images and just text posts. But I like that you were like, sure, try it. You know, let's.
yeah, the growth is the most important part for this for our student content team, because it can be a bit of a gut punch for them because they think that they know how to make really great content because they're on Snapchat and they're always doing TikToks. But when it comes to what's our marketing message and how do you put that in 15 to 30 seconds, that's where they can struggle in terms of brand consistency and those types of areas. So their first piece, 99% of the time, I am going to say that we're not publishing this. Go back to the drawing board and think about a way that's going to actually get the audience to interact with us. And so it may take 3 to 5 different variations of work, but we get them to a point where one of their pieces is going to be published on an official college channel, so they can use that into their LinkedIn, into the resume, into the job interviews.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. It really is like when you go from just doing content for yourself, for your own following or whatever, to then doing it for a brand. It's and when there's some level of professional expectations involved, it's a different ball game, because now, yeah, like you said, now you got to figure out like how do you get people to move.
Yeah,
It's not enough just for people to like it and just go, haha, that was funny, or whatever. It's like, but did people show up to the event? Like
right.
that's what we want.
Yeah, it's great to have 10,000 views, right? But are they converting to an action that? And some of the times we're telling our interns, we're going to put X amount of dollars behind this piece of work, and so we've got to have some ROI onto it, and so that makes them a little bit more professional, a little bit more hard and dedicated to getting us a good product.
Yeah. Is there ever an instance like when you say we're putting dollars behind it, are you ever doing paid ads like Facebook ads?
Yes, we have a very extensive paid strategy on Meta. We have a variety of ads that we do on there. Some of them are student based, and that's kind of where we balance of, is this something that our in-house team is going to produce, or can we work with our students to produce it? And some of the times we're actually mixing it, so we'll run 3 to 4 different video assets in one single Meta campaign, three produced by Dave, one produced by our students, or vice versa, and we'll see how it performs, and we can change on the fly. But video for us is a key part of our marketing strategy, and that's why we had to build up our student team so much, as well as really focus on our in-house team out there getting content, because that's performing the best for us in terms of some of our conversions.
Yeah, yeah, cool. I mean, just the little bit that I've dabbled in meta ads has been really eye opening for me in like how quickly you can find out if something's working or not.
Yeah.
Um, and it's a lot easier to A/B test when you're actually gonna put some money behind it and like force this into the algorithm, force this out into people's feeds. But it's always telling. Like my assumptions are always challenged. Like the things that I think are gonna be the best performing ads sometimes aren't. The things that I
Yeah.
just kind of threw together, we'll just test this against the good one, like the bad one ends up like way outperforming. So it's just that's really what I've learned in marketing is just test everything, test.
Yes.
No,
And
you can hire all the experts in the world, but like nobody is going to definitively be able to say this format in with this messaging at this time is going to work for you. You just like have to test stuff.
the other part of our meta strategy is, we'll have different types of video that Dave will do. So part of our student content team is obviously being behind the camera and producing it and making sure that the scene is set right. But we also use our student content team to actually say words on camera. So they're an on-camera personality for us. And so we'll have the 15-second, quick shots, edited to some type of music. Then we'll have students write the script for us. They'll say the lines on camera, and then we'll have Dave shoot and edit it for us. And so we want to balance kind of what does that video look like, and so it doesn't get too stale to our audience.
Yeah, cool. I love it. Quick break here to tell you about how you can scale up your student and alumni success stories without taking on a bunch of extra work to manage with our video storytelling subscriptions. Look, making even one video takes a lot of legwork. There's lots of steps to go through to hire a video vendor, herd all the cats, and then you usually get one video out of that. But what if you could do a similar amount of work, but this time get a year's worth of storytelling content that you can use across the board to highlight your various programs, where pretty much all you had to do was find the stories and hand them off, and even that will help you with. Well, at Unveiled, our aim is to take the friction out of telling great stories. So whether you're a big school or a small liberal arts college, you can tell compelling stories all year round and fill your content calendar with video content. And we can get this done for you virtually anywhere in the world, certainly anywhere in the US. The way it works is we're going to batch shoot a year's worth of content and then every month drip out to you one new student or alumni story along with a whole package of additional video content. So you'll get the full length story, which is usually 2 to 3 minutes. You'll get a 30-second and a 15-second cut down of that story to use in various shorter contexts. And then you'll get 8 topical videos. And those topical videos are like, while we have this student sitting here on camera, let's ask them whatever we want. We'll work with your school to come up with a list of questions that touch on those things that you like to promote. So maybe it's scholarships or career development opportunities or on-campus housing or whatever it is. So that's the package of videos. You'll get that package every month, every single month. And not only can you take those polished videos that we deliver to you and crop them vertically and, make great TikToks and Reels content, but you get to keep all the raw B-roll and interview footage that we shoot. Imagine the possibilities of 12 students or alumni following them around for half a day in classes, in labs, in whatever other visual contexts. And that's just an entire library of B-roll that you get to use forever and repurpose at no extra charge. It's all included in your subscription. So head over to unveiled.tv, that's unveiled.tv, and check out our work. You can find pricing information there as well. And if you'd like to chat further, you can book a call with me on the website there, and I'd be happy to talk about how we might be able to support you and also answer any questions you may have. Okay, back to the show. So you said you hired a full-time staff person, and she did
Yes.
this video, like a TikTok, and it kind of took off. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So about 2 years ago now, that's when we really started to make video a primary focus for our marketing strategy. So we had an opening on our staff, and it was, do we want to have someone doing communications work for us and really work with our CRM and our slate, or do we want to focus on someone who's really good at video production and can do quick reels and TikToks and things like that. So we chose that route, and we chose a specific person for that role. So she was on the job, I think, literally for a week, and we were like, all right, what's your TikTok strategy? And she just went out and saw this trend about college dads on tour set to some Home Depot music. I think it was repurposed in a variety of formats, and it was like a 98-degree day. She found a dad who was really great on camera. They did like 15 different scenes. She shot and edited it. And like overnight, it got 70,000 views. And we were like, wow, we are so grateful that we hired this girl. What's your next project going to be like? We love that we went viral. Now you got to keep up all the work. And so
Yeah.
that's been a challenge for us, right? So she went viral her first time. We loved that. We applauded it. We got 70,000 eyeballs on Siena College. But how do you maintain that level of consistency and that level of videos that are going to get that many views? And so that's continue to be a challenge for us as we think about, our team is very small. We have 2 people doing video. And so how can we continue to produce all these videos at a rapid pace that are going to hit some of our marketing goals? So it's been great to have that dedicated person on our staff. We've gone viral probably 3 to 5 times more, but we're happy with our viewership on TikTok. But we want to be able to continue to produce more content this upcoming year.
That's cool. I thought that when I saw, we'll link to this video, with the dad and the Home Depot song. But when I saw, I thought that was her dad. That wasn't her dad.
That was not her dad. It was actually her college roommate's father, and it went over so well that we actually ended up doing a part 2 to it, which I think is also still on our TikTok. But we have the first viral video pinned. So yeah, she wrote it all out herself. She did the storyboard, found the dad, and it came out very, very well. And we had no idea what was going to happen. We said we love the concept. Let's see what it does. I think we didn't really have a TikTok strategy before we hired this person, so there wasn't really any data to be like, okay, this is our benchmark point. And so she set the bar very high for herself, but she continues to outperform, which is great.
That's cool. That's one thing that I've started playing with, just in the last few weeks, is because outside of, I'm very active on LinkedIn. That's my primary social
Hmm.
media, and my primary distribution channel for for this podcast. But I'm also like kind of in the background playing with TikTok, and I have a virtual assistant that will cut up, bits from the podcast and post them, but they usually don't do very well because I think they're just like, it's someone saying something interesting, but it's typically for a very niche audience,
Yes.
that, you'd have to hope that it gets into the feed of a higher ed marketer, so, but what I have been playing with is like, what's something that I can do to like market an episode that might have broader emotional appeal. So I've been playing with these trends. Like the one, I mean, this morning I posted a little ad or a promo for that we were going to film this interview with Andy, and it's Kevin Hart carrying a picture frame out, and he's like, look at this, and it's like just a picture of Andy's face in there, replace the green screen with. So just a funny thing. And like last week I did, because we're having a webinar with Rob Clark, which I'll drop a little plug for, mastering TikToks, reels, and shorts for higher ed marketers. And you can go to crowdcast.io/c/short form video to register. But I found a template where it's King Charles, and he's like unveiling a painting,
Yeah.
and then he pulls the veil off the painting, and then
Yeah.
it's like the flyer for the webinar. That one actually did pretty good. Like that, I mean, as LinkedIn goes, LinkedIn is hard to get engagement. It
Yeah.
it got quite a bit of reactions. So anyways, but yeah, it's fun to play with trends, and I think like the bar is often pretty low. I mean, at least the bar's low for me,
Hmm.
for a college like yours. Yeah, like I don't know, you might want to be a little more careful of letting them play with trends like on the main account or whatever, but there is something to that. Like the trends really, like that's a something relatable plus a trend, like a trending concept plus a trending sound, like
Right.
those all together seem to be, that doesn't guarantee virality, but it's sets you up pretty good.
And that's the part I think there's oftentimes where we're on a team here, and it takes a while and it takes a lot of manpower to stay on top of the trends. And sometimes people don't understand, you know, a video project sometimes can, be a thought that's 10 seconds and it just comes to you. But there's a lot of brainstorming and strategic thinking and just scrolling the internet to just find some creative juice. And so a lot of the time, Emily and Dave, they're just out there looking at what new ideas are out there and how can we tailor that to our Siena message. So there's all the time in editing and video producing, but there's also that component of brainstorming that also takes equally the amount of time for some folks as well.
Yeah, it's a different kind of scrolling too, because as I've been playing with that, I'm realizing like how much I'm not really a, like when I'm just like, oh, I'll we'll post this snippet from this podcast and we'll, post it or whatever. Maybe there's a caption, maybe not. But then like the other day I was like, how are other people formatting these? Like I want to see, like, are they putting the captions down at the bottom or at the top or blah, blah, blah. And as I'm looking and I'm coming across the podcast snippet clips, I'm like, oh, I haven't even like, I just realized, like, really looking intentionally at it, it's like a whole different world. Cause I'm like, oh, like there's things that they're doing that I am noticing as I'm like really looking for it, that when I was just off like creating on an island, I wasn't even thinking about. So it's like you just scroll through this stuff like, for leisure,
Mm-hmm.
and it just goes into your subconscious. You don't notice really what's happening or how they're formatting it or what the strategy is. It's just funny or it's not funny or or whatever. But yeah, scrolling for like inspiration is a whole different ballgame.
And then we have our student content team who will give us new ways to think about how to actually output the video. So you talk about captions. That wasn't something I thought about a year or 2 years ago. And they were like, no, we consume video sometimes on silent mode. So we want to just read the captions. And so now in our reels and in our TikToks, we'll put text on the screen where I used to never think that would be the way to go. But I'm 10 years removed from college now. And so
Yeah,
my 30-year-old brain isn't thinking like an 18-year-old. So that's why we have our student team to keep us honest and to also help us stay on top of these trends.
for sure. I definitely do consume some things on silent mode. I usually like, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and like not have my headphones near me and I can't back to sleep. So I'm just scrolling, and obviously you just can't be like blasting TikToks, waking my wife up. So yeah, I'm always thankful for the captions at 4 a.m.
Yeah,
But okay, so what's all right, you told me in our pre-call you did some videos for Siena Fest. So first off, tell us what Siena Fest was, and then what was the videos you did and what was the result?
sure. So Siena Fest is basically our big concert weekend of the year. It's a 3-day festival for our students at the end of the school year. They get to relax, unwind, listen to a concert, food trucks, carnival rides, etc. And we know that students are looking at the academic experience at a college, but really, am I going to belong here? Am I going to fit in at the college? So we take these kind of big events as a great opportunity for the college to showcase to our prospective audience, you can fit in here, and this is all the great things that will help you fit in as a college student. Siena Fest is a unique way for us to showcase it, and it was the first time that we had introduced aerial video to our strategy. And so we took a bunch of vertical drone footage, compiled it into short snippets on our Instagram stories over the weekend. And we actually had a father reach out to us and said, thank you so much for letting my daughter see what the Siena social life is all about. Because she watched all these videos over the Siena Fest weekend, it helped her make up her mind to come to Siena and enroll here. So, video, it can be very influential when done right, and it can help someone choose between one product over the other. And so we used the aerial videos as a way to showcase, what life is all about, and it helped us hit our enrollment goals.
That's awesome. I love that story. It's cool when you do something and then you hear some direct feedback. It was like that was the thing that that caused me to sign up or whatever. Because you usually don't get that feedback. It's hard to judge ROI based on. I mean, even if you get a ton of views and a ton of likes
Right,
and comments and stuff, that doesn't necessarily say that doesn't necessarily mean it's a win. It just means it
right.
resonated. That's part of it. Resonating is like the first step, but then that's not, and then you got to follow through with getting them to move. But it also kind of makes me think too that like having having a library of video content that people can binge that are in the mindset to binge stuff from your college, because you would think if you posted some random drone videos of a random event to TikTok that people outside of Siena have no emotional connection to, don't know what it is. You would think that like, okay, that if that got a low amount of views or engagement, it was a failure, but like not really, because for someone that's more like mid funnel, bottom funnel, really considering Siena, like if I'm looking at colleges, I'm totally gonna binge like
Yeah.
all of the internal stuff, like the stuff that is going to be relevant for am I going to like going there kind of thing, which is a different audience than you know top of funnel, just people, you kind that's why you kind of want to have a mix of top of funnel stuff, but also like don't neglect those people that are actually have questions in their mind of what is life like, at
Yeah,
Siena.
and we know that TikTok and Instagram are two great resources for that, but we also do spend a lot of focus on our YouTube content, and we've started to student wise and in house wise. What do our YouTube shorts look like, and we've started to repurpose. You mentioned some of the different virtual assistants you've been using to reformat your podcast into short form clips. We're trying to do that same method with our long form videos, but clip them up to YouTube shorts, and just to have consistent videos out there that people can search. We've added that to our strategy as well.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And in this presentation that I gave, one of the findings was that there's not a lot of colleges really investing in shorts. It's really TikTok and Reels very heavily. Like across the board, Instagram is far and away the more used platform by colleges. Second would be TikTok. Third is definitely Shorts. And I actually struggled to find many colleges that were even like very intentional about shorts enough to have a few wins under their belt of like videos that had taken off. So I think I am a huge advocate for shorts, and I think it's a big area of growth. I think the statistic I read was like 135% year over year growth for YouTube shorts, in terms of like people watching those. And so I think it's just a really good opportunity for colleges to get in kind of on the ground level and be one of the few colleges that's really doing something that not everyone else is doing.
And you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can repurpose a lot of the content you already have, and just chop it up to help save some of that workflow time.
Yeah, a lot of the clips that we post from TikTok could easily go to Instagram and YouTube Shorts in a similar way. I mean, there's some stuff that I would do differently on maybe on TikTok versus Reels, but it's subtle. And I know that like
Right.
the main mode of advice is really optimized for each platform. But I think at the basic level, it's a vertical video. It's either interesting or it's not. It has a caption, it's got, there's certain but like it's not like there's not like real drastic changes that I can think of right now between a TikTok, a reel, and a short that are going to
Right.
like cause a completely different workflow for a short versus a TikTok, for instance.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah. And just a random question, because I've heard this feedback before. Some schools are banning TikTok, like preemptively. Is that where's Siena at with that?
We are not there yet. We think it can be used as an educational resource, and so obviously there's different syllabus methods and phone use in class, but TikTok in our view is just like YouTube. It can be used as an educational resource, and it can be used for great academic benefit. So I don't foresee us banning TikTok on our campus. We have a great student life team who stays on top of our social listening to make sure that the online bullying is not there. But yeah, no, we'll definitely keep TikTok around, in my view.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, online bullying. That's good. I find like the comments on TikTok are actually nicer than on Instagram. Instagram is ruthless. Like if you have a shred of a chance of getting ripped on Instagram, you will 100% get ripped on.
Yeah, our bubble. We used to say we were in a bubble here at Siena, and then that bubble popped 2 to 3 years ago, just with the way that the cultural landscape in the country changed, and so we can never tell if it's a bot or a student, but definitely, we never take that stuff to heart. We always want to communicate and continue dialogue.
Yeah. So who manages these who manages the interns?
So that's one of my primary responsibilities here at Siena is hiring and managing our interns. We started probably 7 years ago now with one student intern, and we've grown it to about 20 students each semester. And they're in the office just to learn and be a part of the team, but we really want to put them in the field. And so the bulk of their hours are out there producing content for us, and then they come in and they'll edit. And if they have technical questions, we can answer in person. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, truthfully, it's a lot of work, but it helps them kind of set their career aspirations and kind of figure out is video the way I want to go. And for the bulk of the students, they love video. They want to be really good at it, and so we give them as much leeway as possible.
And are they ever leveraging their own followings at all? Like, are they ever posting on their own accounts?
So we've dabbled in the influencer landscape just a bit. It, it, they post their own stuff on their own channels, obviously, but we are a bit strategic in who we select for our on camera personality roles in our ads, because there's 3 to 4 students who will select part of our content team. We'll put them in the video ad, and then they're putting that on all their social media platforms, or they send it to mom back home, and mom put it back on Facebook. And so it's got a trickle down effect for us, which is really beneficial to reaching audiences not necessarily in our scope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I notice there's like on YouTube, there's a lot of these student influencers doing day in the life videos and they have big followings to begin with, like 100,000, 200,000 subscribers on YouTube or whatever. And then they'll do this like 10 or 12-minute video, and it's got like 500,000 views and like 1,000 comments or something like that. And it's like, man, if you could bottle that up and rinse and repeat that at every campus, and like, I'm always curious. Like NYU is one that has a lot. I just see a lot of these day in the life videos coming out of NYU, and I'm trying to get someone on the podcast to talk to me about what is their secret sauce for getting people to put so much creative effort into these videos, because they're very well edited and they're long.
Yeah,
you know.
we have not found that secret sauce. There's also Notre Dame University. There's a couple of students that are really good at Notre Dame that they put out that long form TikTok content, and it just blows up. And I wish I knew the recipe. I don't have that answer though.
All right, that's my task for 2024. We're gonna find out the answer by December 31st. We'll know the answer. All right. So, what challenges, if any, have you faced, like trying to produce, content with this staff and this group of interns? I would imagine trying to corral everybody is a challenge. Trying to get everyone on the same page with the
Yeah.
same voice. Just tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of different challenges. There's always the onboarding challenge, which is the first kind of hurdle for us. Like I've mentioned, they're coming in with limited knowledge on the technical standpoint and on a creative standpoint. So it takes about 3 to 4 weeks to get them kind of up to speed in terms of what we're looking for. And then brand consistency is super important. So I got my brain, you've got your brain. We think we're on the right track. We've got 2 pieces of video that our students are doing, but they're vastly different in tone and message. So teaching them and coaching them through that process takes a while, and then just they don't. Our students have a tough time at the beginning understanding how short 15 seconds really is. So
Yeah.
they'll work on a video script, and on a Microsoft Word document, it's a page and a half long. I'm like,
Yeah.
did you read this out loud to yourself? And they're like, no, well, I didn't. It's 3 minutes long. I need you to really chop this down. And so the sense of timing is always interesting when I see a video. But it's really fun to work with them. But I would say the biggest challenge is the onboarding and the brand consistency in tone and voice.
Yeah. That's so funny that you said the script length, because that is, I would think that's probably the biggest splash of cold water that my clients across the board experience with, when they work with Unveiled, is like, because they'll always come with like, we need something really short, but they'll because they assume that it has to be short attention spans and stuff like that, but they come with a big idea.
Yeah.
So
Is this a 5-part series or is this one video that we're doing?
yeah, it's like I did one for a nonprofit, and we filmed the story, and it was a human trafficking. I do a series of human trafficking survivor stories, and it was one of the first ones that we ever did with them. And it was a very elaborate, like there was so many layers to this story of like the trauma she went through and all this stuff. And the first cut was 12 minutes, and my client goes, "What's it going to take to get this to 2 minutes?" And I'm like, "It's gonna throw this one out and
Yeah.
find a simpler story." Because like 2 minutes, I mean, 2 minutes fills up really fast. it's
Yes.
it's it's hard to tell a one-dimensional story. Like, it's one thing to do an ad, like a conceptual ad, or even a TikTok that's just kind of like a funny anecdote,
Yep.
but like to tell a story with a beginning, middle, and end, um I mean, can be done in a minute or two, but like you can't go very deep. Like, you really get into like the depth of storytelling at like the 4 to 6 minute mark. And then past that, then you get like these multi-layered stories where there's like lots of ins and outs. You kind of need like 8 to 12 minutes for that to really do them justice. So I think people learn that real fast. Because then I sent her, like, I was like, this is literally as short as I can get it. I think I got it down to 8 minutes. And then she was like, yeah, what would we cut? Like, there's nothing we can cut here without completely cutting major limbs off this entire story. So it's funny. Yeah, so and then the other thing that you mentioned was a UGC, user generated content campaign, where you ask students to send in their best college videos. So walk us through that campaign.
Yeah. Overall, our strategy is to be very visible to our students. So they know who Andy is, they know who Emily is, they know who Dave are. They are the guys that are producing content. And so from a holistic vision, we call it Be Siena Famous. And so every move-in day, orientation weekend, we're out there letting students know that we're here and we want your content. So we work very hard building relationships with our students, and that has resulted into a really, really good UGC campaign where we went out, we texted students, hey, do you have any videos of your life at Siena? It can be literally anything as long as it falls within the realm of, our college guidelines. And so we probably asked 20 or so students, send us your best Snapchat videos, etc. And so we compiled all of that and we clipped it into a very consumable short form video that we put on a special website that we have dedicated to prospective students, and it was our best performing content that we had in that enrollment cycle. But it's because they could see themselves in that moment. It wasn't staged or scripted, and so that type of UGC content worked really, really well for that need. And like I said, it performed tremendously for us.
That's awesome. Was there anything, I mean, just throughout all these efforts, that you tried that was just a total flop, that you kind of had, any learning experiences that you had to pivot from?
So holidays for us, in terms of what our content is always a challenge. So whether it's, we used to do a Christmas card video every year. We turned that into a year in review video. Um, but like Valentine's Day, like what do we do for Valentine's Day? And so we had this, what we thought was a really great script written. We had our on campus mascot, live Saint Bernard, with us, and it just flopped. And we were like, why did it flop? Why did it not flop? Was it the message? Was it the visuals? And so we're always, back to our beginning of our dialogue, we're always testing out our content. And so for holidays, our challenge will always be what content are we doing, and we have yet to hit the nail on the head in terms of our Valentine's Day content. So always looking towards our students. What do you want to see? And so hopefully we can learn from our mistakes and build out great content consistently for holidays.
Yeah, I think holidays is tough because you get into a lot. I mean, it's like, what's relevant about this holiday to anyone else? Like, it's not enough to just say like "Happy Halloween" from Siena College. You know, it's like no one cares about that. But like, how do you make it like relevant and entertaining? I saw a video. One I can't remember the school. I want to say it was like Boston University or something. They did a Valentine's Day video that got a lot of views. I want to say like a couple 100,000 views and a ton of comments. And it was it was a man on the street style video, and they had a girl that was like going around campus, going up to random people and saying like, "Do you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend?" They'd say yes, and then say, "Do you want to tell them you love him?" And then they would put her on speakerphone and call, and then the other person would either be like, "Okay, I love you too." It's just so funny.
That's something I would probably watch on repeat.
Yeah, or
send to my friends.
Yeah, it was very funny, and it was like, I think that's shareable content, because I was like, I should try that with my wife Laura. I was like, and record it. I wonder how she would react. Usually, like, you know, we've been married 14 years. Usually if one of us calls, it's like something's going on with the kids.
Yeah.
You know, what do you need? Do I need to pick up something on my way home? Like,
yeah. You know, honey, we need milk. Yeah.
Yeah. It would be funny to just be like, "Hey, I love you." But I feel like that would work better in college than have different results 14 years into marriage. But yeah, my wife and I, we do love each other. So yes. let me just go on. Yeah. Let me go on the record to say that we do tell each other we love each other. But well, cool. So that's pretty much all I got. So what's coming up for Siena? What's anything you guys are excited about in terms of video content creation?
Yeah, so we've got a couple of our summer ad campaigns that we're starting up this week, or next week rather. So we'll do some new video ads. We're actually shifting our message a bit and focusing a lot more on academic messaging. Still do the belonging and fit, but you know, our videographer is really excited to tap into his academic library and putting that in our video and seeing how that performs. And then we have Saints Camp coming up in July, which is like a pre-orientation for our students, which always has great moments for video that we'll use to promote the student experience and for class years to come.
Cool. Awesome. Well, this has been a great conversation. Appreciate you being here. Where can people connect with you at?
Best thing, connect with me on LinkedIn, Andy Murphy. Happy to connect, DM me. We'll chat, and happy to talk. If you're interested in building a student content team wherever you are, happy to be of a resource to you.
Awesome. All right. Thanks for being here, Andy.
Thank you so much. Have a great one.
Thanks for listening. 3 things I want to give you before you go. Number 1, reminder to sign up for my free weekly newsletter, all about creating content that resonates emotionally with your audience. And you can do that at unveiled.tv/newsletter. Unveiled is spelled UNVEILD. Number 2, if you've enjoyed this episode, share it with someone. Share it with your team, your boss, your dog, whatever. And if you're not already subscribed, I'd love for you to do that. Number 3, reach out to me. If you have comments, questions, you want to talk about a video project, whatever, my email is john@unveiled.tv. John is spelled JOHN, or follow me on LinkedIn. If you're searching for me, my last name is spelled AZONI. That's all for today, and I look forward to catching you on the next episode of the Higher Ed Storytelling University podcast. Thanks.